So let's start off by saying hello to everyone. We trust you've had great, excellent New Year and Christmas and other kinds of festivities. So we have about 70 people in at the moment. We're going to wait just a few more minutes until everybody else joins, and then we're going to start today's event. Hello, Arkady. Hello, Christoph. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Maxim. Oscar, hello. Yes, so I believe we can start our event now. We have 100 people at the moment. Again, greetings. Our today's topic for the first webinar of this year is going to be the use of natural language processing related technologies in open source intelligence, in intelligence and investigations, and in general. Today, we're joined by Mr. Andrei Vladescu here, senior analyst at Diligence, with an academic level of understanding of today's subject. So, yes, we're going to go through the slides first. Andrei, passing the word to you. Please go on.
Hello to all. I'm very glad to be a Mr. today, at least. So, there has been a lot of talk lately about natural language processing. It is not a concept that has become fashionable in the recent years, because it is rooted deep in the 50s when Alan Turing, a familiar name to some and associated with his involvement in decoding German messages in World War II, proposed what is now called the Turing test, a criterion of evaluating human intelligence that involved automated interpretation and generation of natural language. So, what's the deal with this NLP and what is being talked about and more in recent years? The reality is that the virtual environment has become extremely useful and a provider for learning things and using them in varied fields of activity. But more interesting than finding out things is the possibility to understand what is beyond them and maybe foresee where it is going and what it might bring. Also, considering the huge amount of things that have the appearance of words, wouldn't be interesting if we could make our lives easier by putting artificial intelligence to work? After all, not only the virtual environment has advanced, but also computer processors and memories. So the question is not why, but rather how to use them effectively. Before telling you how NLP finds its place in the services offered by business consulting and due diligence companies such as Diligence, I think it would be interesting to say a few words about the fields where it is applicable. I will start with the very basics. There are many uses of NLP applications in the digital world, and the list is continuing to grow as businesses become aware of its value. In the age of artificial intelligence and big data, the sentiment agent approach based on natural language processing is gaining importance. At the same time, sentiment measurement based on natural language processing has become an essential tool for private companies, research institutions, and financial institutions to formulate industry policies and manage financial risks. Text analytics converts unstructured text data into meaningful data for analysis using different linguistic, statistical, or machine learning techniques. While sentiment analysis sounds daunting to brands, especially if they have a large customer base, a tool using NLP will typically score customer interactions such as social media comments or reviews or even brand name mentions to see what's being said. Analysis of these interactions can help brands determine how well a marketing campaign is doing or monitor trending customer issues and then decide how to respond or enhance service for a better customer experience. Natural language processing tools can help analyze data and discover insights, automate time-consuming processes, and can be a valuable gain for a competitive advantage. Some of the most interesting uses of natural language processing in business are hate speech detection and sentiment analysis, marketing intelligence, opinion polarization, urgency detection, or intent classification. Regarding hate speech detection and sentiment analysis, let's say you work in the HR department and your job is to look for potential employees. NLP can be useful when you need to identify the risk of a candidate being under the influence of some controversial ideas or having beliefs that contradict the values promoted by your company. Or you are interested in assessing and mitigating the dark side of communication. Cyber hate, online harassment, and other misuses of technology are on the rise. Particularly during the global pandemic in 2020, 35% of online users reported online harassment related to their identity-based characteristics, reflecting a 3% increase from 2019. Offensive language includes abusive statements that aim to harm, such as threats, discriminatory words, swear words, blunt insults, hate speech, aggressive content, or toxic comments. Offensive exchanges create an environment of disturbance, disrespect, or anger, affecting the harmony of conversations and reduces users' trust in the online platforms. Natural language understanding is often difficult for machines when it comes to opinions, given that humans often use some particular expressions that correspond to a greater or lesser degree of sarcasm and irony. Human speech could be quite hard to interpret as it involves expressions and sentiments beyond literal meanings. Moreover, expressions which correspond to exclamation are very hard to be recognized by the computer. But by using natural language processing, the machine is able to catch on to different sentiments that might be insisted on through the user's command. Sentiment analysis, however, is able to recognize subtle nuances in emotions and opinions and determine how positive or negative they are. When you analyze sentiment in real time, you can monitor mentions on social media and handle negative comments before they escalate. Or seek for customer reactions to your latest marketing campaign or product launch and get an overall sense of how customers feel about your company. You can also perform sentiment analysis periodically and understand what customers like and dislike about specific aspects of your business. Maybe they love your new feature but are disappointed about your customer service. All those insights can help you make smarter decisions as they show you exactly what to improve. Keyword extraction, on the other hand, gives you an overview on the context of a text or an image. Combined with sentiment analysis, keyword extraction can add an extra layer of insight by telling you which words customers use most often to express negativity towards your product or service. Endowing computers with the ability to recognize emotions in text has important application in sentiment analysis and effective computing. In order to build computational models that can recognize the emotions represented, for example, in tweets, a researcher or investigator needs to identify a set of suitable emotion categories that could help a fine-grained detection model. So we need some advanced model that can overcome the traditional models that use the 6 basic emotions like happiness, sadness, fear or anger, disgust, and surprise. About market intelligence and NLP. Marketeers can benefit from natural language processing to learn more about their customers and use those insights to create more effective strategies. Analyzing topics, sentiment, keywords, and intent in unstructured data can really boost your market research, shedding a light on trends and business opportunities. You can also analyze data to identify customer weak points and to keep an eye on competitors by seeing what things are working well for them and which are not. Twitter, with an ever-increasing user base, has greatly influenced the opinion and purchase habits of the common masses. This has in turn forced the product firms to get involved with sentiment analysis, which enables them to mine the actual opinion about their product and make business decisions accordingly. Something about the intent classification that consists of identifying the goal or purpose that underlines a text. Apart from chatbots, intent detection can drive benefits in sales and customer support areas. By analyzing customer interactions like social media posts, you can spot customers that are ready to purchase. The faster you can detect and classify those leads, the more chances you have on turning them into customers. Finally, looking for customer intent in customer social media posts can warn you of customers at risk of losing interest, allowing you to take action with a strategy to win them back. The NLP techniques can also help you detect urgency in text. You can train an urgency detection model using your own criteria, so it can recognize certain words and expressions that denote gravity or discontent. This can help you prioritize the most important requests and make sure they don't get buried under a pile of unresolved tickets. Urgency detection helps you improve response times and efficiency, leading to a positive impact on customer satisfaction. Regarding the opinion polarization, NLP can have applicability for PR companies. An aspect of interest for them can be the early identification of the polarization of some opinions or of the public opinion regarding a person, a group, a company, or a product. This aspect is important because opinion polarization in an individual's social environment causes them to become active in terms of behavior. Nowadays, more and more people choose the internet as the main channel to obtain information and express their feelings. Therefore, how to understand online public opinion has become an important task for enterprises and individuals involved in decision-making. Among them, the task of stance detection, which focuses on users' deep attitudes, has become a new research topic for the prediction of voting, consumers' preferences, society supporting, rumor detection, and so forth. The way Interdiligence, a business consulting and due diligence company, uses NLP is first of all community mapping, where we identify the best approaches to engage the community around a new business with effect on an area. In this situation, it is of maximum importance to accurately map the community of interest and highlight details like formal and informal leaders, community needs, significant business players, relational systems, failed and successful projects, and of course, lessons learned. Harvesting social media is an essential way of understanding people. Social media is the place where they feel less constrained and most of the time express their true opinions, voice what hurts them, what they like and what they don't agree with. We can identify not only the direct direction of opinions, but who promotes them and who challenges them. Then we can find out how any decision by our client would be received. Another service is reputational defense, eliminating or limiting reputational damage of the client. This service includes performing case history review, investigation on media and individuals who spread negative news, identification of reasons behind the negative news, generating strategies to combat this negative news. And here, NLP plays an essential role by precisely determining the weight of ideas with negative content, both in the press as in social media. Finally, we have the background investigations, where we produce personalized profile analysis. This service helps to clarify some aspects regarding a possible future employee or even an existing one whose activity causes an eyebrow to be raised by management. In this case, it is mandatory to perform an accurate analysis of ideas expressed towards the company an individual works, and to take a look on his or her professional and social reputation, conflicts and controversial contexts, identifying the employee's stress level, assessing the level of discursive aggression, or anticipating their reactions to the application of an unpopular measure by the management. I'm going to give you a short demonstration on how NLP can be used, and which is fundamental for two of interdiligence services, community mapping and reputational defense. A few years ago, there was a situation in Romania, a construction project that generated heated discussions. There were various opinions, some in favor and others against the project. Using social links, we were able to map the negative speech, the promoters of negative opinions, and evaluate the degree of risk that the project faced. This type of knowledge is useful in order to apply early measures to de-escalate the situation and prevent negative reputation for the company. We extracted the messages from a Facebook group dedicated to debating the project. Then we used the automatic translation module of social links in order to apply their sentiment analysis function and establish the tone of the messages, positive, neutral, and negative. Then the negative messages were paired with the authors to determine the size of the opposition group. It turned out that the negative messages were formulated by a group of 26 entities of the 40 that participated in the debate, some Facebook pages, others profiles. As you can see in the next slide, the result is a difficult chart to study. So here, in order to make the demonstration clear and not take too much time, we apply the procedure on a reduced set of messages. In a real situation, of course, we analyze the entire set. In the center is the source of the messages, the Facebook group, and on the right are some messages that contain negative elements marked in red. In the next slide, we analyze the replies to the messages. It can be seen that the negative messages attracted comments. For one of the negative messages, the comments were extracted and the sentiment analysis was also done, resulting in one of the replies being negative as well, which is why the author was marked in red. In this way, it is possible to identify who are the promoters of opposition opinions. An important aspect of the study is the sharing of messages, a way of promoting the opposition without direct involvement, but still showing that the person adheres to a certain idea. This fact can be seen in the next slide, where the sharers have been marked in yellow. The original author of the message is marked in purple, and for unknown reasons, he took over his own message. In this way, it can be established that what is the weight of negativity in a debate and what is the degree of urgency to apply measures to combat the negative speech. Eventually, this procedure can be applied over a long period of time, and you can establish whether the general negative opinion has an increasing or decreasing tendency, or whether it fluctuates. So, thank you for your attention. If you want to continue our discussion on NLP, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I assure you that I don't leave any message unanswered.
Andre, thank you very much. That was quite an interesting set of things to listen to, I believe, for our audience as well, of course. So now we're going to go through several live functional examples, quite simple ones, of how this can be done using an automated solution, such as Social Links Pro examples from which you have seen in the slides. And then we're going to go through a Q&A session. So yes, first, those of you who have previously been to our other webinars might have seen the product-based methodologies that we have. Here we've slightly modified them to the context of the usage of NLP and named entity recognition. We're going to go this just very briefly, and this is going to partially overlap with what Andrew said. So for instance, in the case of a person of interest assessment, we have an individual, we have their social media and their individual identifiers, which can tell us more about their social set, their digital footprint, their biography, and their personal views, and the use of natural language processing and named entity recognition can tell us more about the sentiment about them, the notable mentions of this person in publicly available sources, how we can interpret that, and their personal views, all of which leads us to a certain analytical conclusion. In an instance of assessing an organization, of course, we have the layers of the publicly available open registry data, the data about the physical objects, the DNS intelligence kind of stuff, the social infrastructure, and the public sentiment towards the organization. So what is said about them on social media, what is said about them in conventional media? Were there any kind of bad publicity events? If so, what were they? How bad were they? What were they connected to? And the results of just simple keyword and hashtag searches. All of this is a part of the process of asset to liability analysis. And this is perhaps less relevant in the broad context, but this can be used in the digital profiling of an individual who might want to anonymize themselves. This is a slightly shortened version of a logical schema that we've had on our previous webinar with Dark Owl on dark web entities research. So of course we have the product positions, the payment methods, the username, but from the posts and threads here, the reflection of the personality of the individual and their behavior can, for instance, tell us things, whether they have a tendency to be toxic or offensive, to have that kind of speech, or not toxic and offensive. So the detection of emotional patterns. The speech patterns and idiosyncrasies, while also being able to lead us to a conclusion about a certain region or macro region and being a part of the full scope of possible digital breadcrumbs, can, along with the topics discussed in details, be processed with the use of named entity recognition. All of this is part of a digital profiling process. So for those of you who are new to our events and to what our company does, we will give first just a brief functional demonstration of the core functionality of Social Links Pro. So here we have a number of inputs, 2 phone numbers, and an email address. Now we're going to use automated scripts known as machines within Maltego to enrich those, to see what they're connected to, and what kind of individual is related to the phones and to the email. Machines are a very convenient way, especially for a new user, to start using the transforms by a certain preset logic, and a user can make their own. This interface is highly customizable in of itself. So the first things that we see so far is the fact that the first number has accounts in Facebook and Twitter connected to it, as well as an SLIC entity here that also has an email, I believe, and a Telegram account. The second number having also an IAC entity connected to it, also the fact of an existing Facebook account, and accounts within Skype and Telegram. And we can also see the name Sam here. After this finishes running, we're going to launch another script on the email address. Now, this email is something that is present in 2 of those gray person data strings. we're going to enrich that to see what kind of social media accounts are connected to it as well. So we see that there's an Instagram account. We see a profile within LinkedIn and also a profile within Skype. The name in which matches the name which we got from one of the phones using OpenCNAM within Maltego, and the LinkedIn account name matching one of the names that we saw within the other Skype account. Now we also get the Google ID with the use of one of our new transforms. And in some instances from a Google ID, it's possible to get the reviews connected to it, which can also tell us some things about the individual. So now we're going to run a facial recognition search into Facebook to see if there is an account present there with a same or quite similar image and name or alias. So we see it here. And now we can try to look, for instance, for the posts of this individual and the posts that they were tagged in, as well as their relatives and the people that they have previously studied with. So we can see one post. From the post, we will get the author, commenters, comments, details, media, reactions, and reposts. And to illustrate the depth of the level to which we can go, from each of the comments, we will also get the author, reactions, and replies. So now we can see which entities may be the most important within the chosen selection. So there is one individual which has the widest spectrum and probably the largest number of incoming connections here. This is not related to NLP in any way. This is just a brief demonstration of the core features that we're generally associated with. Now, to an example with NLP, let's start with a simple example with the hashtag PadmaBridge within Twitter. We will search for all the tweets that contain that specific hashtag. This is related to a large infrastructure, construction projects within Bangladesh. We received 42 tweet output entities. And now we're going to try to detect the sentiment within those tweets. So an evaluation is performed and the entity is put into a specific range that can characterize it as having a positive, negative, or neutral sentiment. So far, we see that there are 10 being positive, 8 being negative, 17 being neutral, and those 7 ones are not in the English language. By default, so far, this works in English. The next thing that we're going to try to do is extract the entities from the text fields. So this gives us things, locations such as Dhaka, a city in Bangladesh, the name of the country itself, hashtag Bangladesh, a number of public individuals, hashtag Sheikh Hasina, who is the current governmental leader there. And this has been done very quickly and can save up a lot of analysts' working hours. A second example will be within Facebook, and it will be related to hate speech and toxic or offensive language detection. So here, this is an individual that we've also previously included as an example in our webinar with Mr. Miro Dietrich on far-right and extremist community research, with an accent on Discord, but as a phenomenon in general. So we have their 2 Facebook accounts, and we have some of their groups, such as Conservative Watch USA, Renewed American Revival, Self-Correcting Phenomenon in Effect, Jewish Alt-Right, Trump Team 2020 Florida, Hernando Chapter, TrumpPresidency.com, and a number of posts not fully representative, more here for the sake of the illustration of the principle of how this works. The posts from within those groups. So now we will try to see if there is hate speech and toxic or offensive language within those posts. While those transforms are running, I'll try to answer some of the questions within the chat. Are those tools available for I2 Analyst Notebook? Fabio, I believe they will soon be available within I2 Analyst Notebook within the SL Pro connector. How automated those functionality are from an anonymous attendee? Well, oh yes, and my colleague is launching a poll now. Yes, we encourage you to answer the questions. What do you think of the webinar so far? Do you plan to implement Osint solutions in your organization? And would you be interested in corporate NLP training to see how your company can benefit? And also, would you be interested in a one-to-one demo of a self professional or a proof of concept so you can apply the solution to a project of your choice? Were those machines pre-built? Yes, they were pre-built by me. They are quite simple, actually, as most of the machines are. It's just a scripting language within Maltego. What tool are we using for facial recognition? Is this built into social links or an external tool? This is a proprietary part of our solution. It's something fully done by us. Can you do sentiment analysis on those replies to the Facebook posts too? Yes, we can. We can do it with any kind of text content within the social media platforms that we cover at the moment. So far, we see that the entity not toxic and offensive has 45 incoming links, and toxic or offensive has 8 incoming links. So if we're interested more in looking for the sources of this kind of negative stuff, we can select the parent entities, get the offer. So this is just a very simplified version of a kind of procedure that Andre was talking about with determining the sources of the negative content. And those are the accounts whose posts were classified as toxic or offensive in language. So further, if we're interested, we can try to get the details about them, try to see which groups they are present in, pages they have liked, their place of education and work, cross-search using facial rec, again, to see if they're present in other kinds of platforms. For instance, 2 of those have liked one same Facebook page previously. For one of them, we can see a masked phone number from a result of an SLISC search. And for another one as well. So yes, that's it for this example. And we're going to go to the next one. And this will cover more the aspect of translating text. So here we have an individual named Martin Kumtamaji, national of the Republic of Chad, with the date of birth stated here, subject to a UN Security Council notice, an entity for which you can see here. There are already transforms, I believe, developed by an independent Osint analyst that can let you query the publicly available Interpol sources, such as red and yellow notices and UN Security Council notices. They're not a part of SL Pro extension. So now we will just choose a keyword and search into Twitter for where it is present. We can see that some of those tweets are in French, most likely a large percentage. And we're going to translate those to English language. And this is how it would look. Just keyword entities with full text in English, which might be convenient for an analyst who doesn't know French, for instance, or some other kind of language. And they have to perform analysis on a number of entities where this language is involved. Can NLP perform analysis for German language and dialects like Bavarian? I believe so, but I don't see why it couldn't. Andre, what would you answer to that question? And also about Turkish language as well.
In that case, I talk about, I use the translating module to translate from Romanian to English, and after that I used the sentiment analysis and the other sub-modules. So I think that you must translate first from German or Turkish to English and then apply the rest of the modules. This is how I did.
Mm-hmm. Great. So it answers the question that we have in the chats about the Spanish language as well, I suppose. And how about analysis of audio and video contents? I don't believe that, I don't think that either Maltego or i2Analyst notebook so far can work with pieces of content as entities in themselves. But if we have a transcript of what is said in audio and video content, then yes, I believe that is going to work. And finally, we're going to go through some real examples that we know about without the full disclosure of details. So Andre, within his part, was talking about instances with online reputation investigation. And there was a case when a certain company had a client that was targeted by aggressive, problematic messages accusing their clients of certain issues in relation to ESG, environment, society, and governance. The messages were spread by a network of automated accounts, one of them having an alias seemingly linked to a real profile, an email address from which was identified with the use of social links. And based on the user alias within the email, a more active profile within Facebook was found, which has been belonging to a displeased former employee. And together with more of a kind of a field findings, this has led to a basis for further constructive dialogue to solve this issue. And as can be concluded from the contents of today's webinar, an automated NLP kind of solution could be quite useful, especially with the whole heavy lifting part, like for clustering different clouds of those automated accounts within this kind of investigation. And another is a use case of public safety, specifically public safety during a major international sporting event. So in this logical schema, we see the potential threats of which there is always a danger of in such an instance. So street violence and amplified street violence as it always is with large gatherings of people, of course, the potential for terrorist attacks, any kind of terrorist extremist activity, the trade in illicit substances, and also, of course, e-fraud and cybercrime. What law enforcement is constantly engaged in during such a process is the continuous monitoring of this situation for the mitigation of those kind of threats. This perpetual monitoring includes the social media aspect, so it can be the full spectrum or certain platforms that are more relevant in a certain region or macro region. So for instance, it was, let's say, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Telegram not being exactly a social media platform, but having a large user base and a substantial social networking element, can also be and usually will be important in this context, as well as, although to a lesser degree, dark web sources. And the input which can be used for those are specific hashtags, GPS coordinates of physical objects from which searches can be ran for related social media content, and specific keywords. And NLP can be used to detect potentially dangerous points, potentially explosive, like in a metaphoric way, points within this whole process. So that is it for today with the functional demonstration. I believe we can go to the Q&A session. Is this included in Social Links Pro? It very soon will be, Timo, yes. We can translate all the outputs from investigations automatically, am I right? Mehmet, in this case, if there is text content within the graph that you are examining, then yes, you can use that specific transform, as Andre has in their real-world investigation scenario, to translate that and read that in English. And how automated those functionality are. It seems to me that here the question is more about generally the transforms that were used within SocialLinks Pro and within Maltego, within I2 Analyst Notebook. They would be queries. This is partial automation, especially the heavy lifting part of queries into publicly available sources. The machines, the scripts that we were using could be called second degree automation in that case. What are the online materials where we can learn this? Well, I believe there's a lot of academic materials, which would be a good basis for the understanding of the subject. If you're talking about natural language processing, lots of materials on YouTube, on other kind of video hosting services. And if you're talking about open source intelligence, well, there's a lot of independent practitioners who have their own educational courses on the subjects. And there's, of course, the SANS Institute, which has Osint as part of their program. How does sentiment analysis tackle slang and sarcasm? Andre, what would you answer to that?
I think that for the moment, it's somehow difficult for this module to take into account sarcasm, and I saw that there are also another question here. I don't know. It's from an anonymous attendee. Does the step of translation impact the ability to detect sentiment, particularly when sarcasm is used? I think this is something related to future steps, because in this very moment, machines are not so close to understand. Maybe if we use smileys, emojis, and other stuff like that. But when I use the translation, I have a little surprise, because somehow, I don't know, maybe the computer has some particular sense of humor, but it captured the ideas that were initially formulated in Romanian. And also I saw that those ideas were taken in the translated messages. So it's very difficult in this very moment to find those little differences between what's said ironic and what's said seriously. But somehow I bet on SocialLinks.
Okay. Are these features already included in SocialLinks Pro, or will they be released in the future? They will be released in the near future, yes. Okay. They will be included as a separate extension. A question, so SocialLinks is a submodule for Maltego. Well, Maltego has their data partner hub. SocialLinks Pro is one of the partners within that hub. So if you're a user of Maltego, then you can contact us and discuss the acquisition of a license or several. Also, if you're a user of I2 Analyst Notebook, the same can be done. Are we covering open source intelligence crime investigations? Well, yes, the spectrum of usage of this kind of technology is very, very wide, and this can be implemented into, well, in certain ways in Osint investigations related to crime, cybercrime, well, organized crime in general. Is this available in the SL API offering? So we would encourage you to contact us at our email hello@sociallinks.io so that we can discuss this in more detail. Are the current NLP capabilities based on machine learning? If yes, can you please elaborate? Well, I believe that they are based on machine learning by definition. Andre, what would you say about that?
I think it depends on the capabilities of the IT engineers that build some application, some software, because it relies on their ability to build some applications that can learn from themselves. This is the idea of natural language processing, because otherwise it will be very difficult to wait for a human to read all the messages and all those photos and extract a conclusion. This is what I think.
Okay, great. So we're going to share a slide now with our contact details for those of you that have been interested in this topic. Andrei Vladescu, Senior Analyst at Diligence. You can see the email here. And Ivan Kravtsov, me, Osint Analyst at Social Links. You can see the QR code here. And if you would like to have a personal product demo or discuss a specific case with our team, please follow this link and book a slot most convenient to you. Also, the next week, we're going to have an open free training session about essential open source intelligence techniques. The link to the registration and the QR code can also be found here. So far, we do have lots of questions, and there's just too much of a pipeline of those due to the large number of people. So I believe that those may be better answered individually. Again, we do have our contact details here. But I believe, though, Andre, we can answer the last question. Mr. Arkady Rotaru is asking whether there is any similar project for the anti-corruption field. What do you think about that? Would that be applicable?
I don't know, maybe, I don't know how those who are involved, not in anti-corruption, but in the corruption, are talking and are saying things on the social media. It's a very interesting issue, because when it comes about, I don't know, slang or other similar ways to communicate, things are very complicated. But this question is somehow similar to another one about doing sentiment analysis factoring in the country the person is from. I think we must answer this, but not in this very moment, because it's a very long story to tell. It's a promise for Stuart Coverson that he'll get his answer one of these days.
Okay. So we've approached the end of our webinar. Thank you everybody for attending. We hope that this was quite an interesting topic. Andre, thank you very much. It was great to have you here. We always love to have industrial experts, and especially from our existing customers and partners co-hosting our events. I believe this was great, and to everyone who have attended, and Andre, to you, of course, we'll be happy to see you on our forthcoming events, which will cover a wide range of other different interesting topics.
Anytime. Thank you, Ivan, and also for all the participants.
Thank you.